Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Lewb. Welcome back to what some people are calling episode 21 of Brits Yanks Talk Trek, a podcast for Trekkies, Trekkers and absolutely everything in between. We are brought together as a group of friends, a very small group of friends today from both sides of the pond. We are technically Brits and Yank, that is singular. Obviously we're brought together, love of Star Trek, we absolutely love it. We brought together from love of a little game called Star Trek Fleet Command, but now we're just talking here purely about Trek. We want you to help control the show, so anything that you like, dislike, anything that you've got suggestions wise, please throw it in our Discord. Link to that is in the episode description or in the podcast video if you are watching. If you are listening over on podcast, please go check out the YouTube video as well. Give us a like over there, give us a subscribe over there, the Brits and Yanks YouTube channel. We are trying to get that growing, trying to get that up so you can do it. And you can also see all of our beautiful faces, see all the reactions to what we all say wrong and what we all actually do, which is nice. Please do me a favour, tell a friend, get a friend involved in this, download it on your podcast platform. That really helps us with the numbers. Obviously we want to try and see this grow as best we can, and if you want to get yourself some exclusive Brits and Yanks Talk Trek merch, you can get that from itslewb.com. You can go and grab yourself a mug, grab yourself a t-shirt for freedom and reason. That will be amazing. Who have we got with us today? Obviously you've got myself, we've got the professor himself, we've got Puts. How are you, my friend? How's things?
I'm doing wonderful. This week is my spring break, so I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed all week, completely rested, ready to go.
Bright bushy tailed, have you put a different filter on?
Right? Yeah. There you go. Sorry.
so that went so straight
Not
over the
old
head.
and decrepit. Not old and decrepit. Not at all. No.
And we've got the Tribble Mother herself. We've got Minnie. How are you?
I am great, sir. I am great. Great to be here. I love this. We've got two Brits, one Yank, two males, one female, two nerds, one non-nerd. I'll let the chat decide that one.
Yeah, that'd probably be me. That'd probably be me, actually. I'm probably
Who's
the
the
one
non-nerd?
least, probably the least deserving of a nerd card there. Yeah, Marvel's got a fair bit to go through today, but really quick synopsis of what we're going to do on the episode today. We're obviously going to give you a quick breakdown on some news that's come up since the latest episode. We're then going to dive into Starfleet Academy. We're going to look at episodes 2 and 3 of that. We're going to give you a deep dive. We're going to give you our feedback, what we think we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, and go through a general synopsis of that. So, spoilers, we will be talking about episodes 2 and 3. Obviously, they're pretty much at the season finale now at time of recording, so you should be caught up by now if you're a real Trekkie. Only joking. So we've got that to do, and obviously we've got our standard freedom and reason section as well, where we'll talk about the cultural differences between the Brits and the Yanks. But we'll start as we always do. We'll start off with some Star Trek news. Again, obviously I forgot to unmute the sound bar again. I did that exact same thing last time before I actually pressed the button. So we'll try that again. It's time for the...
It's time for the Star Trek news.
It is indeed. Okay, the first one I've got, a future of Star Trek. Some people say it's a little bit uncertain, a little bit. There's not a lot in the pipeline in other places, but then you look and everywhere people are giving ideas. The showrunners and the showrunner, Alonzo Myers, who is currently the co-showrunner of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, has confirmed that the two of them, along with Avika Goldsman, who's also helping with the Strange New Worlds part of it, has pitched a new idea to Paramount, which they're calling Star Trek Year One. Okay, and it's now in their hands. And what this is something where it's a sequel to Strange New Worlds, but following Paul Wesley's character, James T. Kirk, on board the USS Enterprise. That to me just sounds a little bit TOS-y, but obviously they're bringing it and using it as a follow-on from the Strange New Worlds, because obviously James T. Kirk is obviously a more prevalent part now within Strange New Worlds. But he's not the main character, is he? Do you know what I mean? He's not the main crux of it. What do we think about that? An adaptation, a sort of rework of TOS. How do we think that'd work, Minnie?
I think that'd be great for the new generation of Star Trek fans, but I think you could really upset some hardcore fans here. I mean, Paul Wesley is phenomenal coming in as Kirk, and that interaction before we all see him move on to be the original TOS captain, all the Easter eggs and things. But ooh, that could really light up the room. That one. But
Yeah, it would be interesting to kind of maybe see how he goes from lieutenant to captain. I don't know. I can tell you that just as time goes on, I know that this is kind of morbid, but like a significant number of TOS fans are no longer with us anymore. Um, they're starting to shuffle off, and I don't think the backlash will be as much. I truly don't. I think if you asked your most diehard Star Trek fan, today, they would probably rank TOS relatively low in watchability and things that they would like want to go back and watch again. So maybe this is an opportunity to for some of those people who are like, well, I love Star Trek, but I just can't stand TOS. Like it's too campy, it's too whatever. They can actually get to learn and get to know Kirk a little bit more
I
and
don't
a little bit differently.
don't disagree in the slightest. I mean, if I had a spare hour in my day, would I reach to an episode of TOS to watch? No, I wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? That's not something if I had to watch an episode. Have I watched TOS? Yes, I have. Is it my favourite series? No, it isn't. And I really like it. I mean, obviously, Goldsman did actually confirm that the final episode of Strange New Worlds, which obviously is ending with its fifth season, it will show Kirk's first day of command. That's been confirmed, obviously, by the showrunner that that's where it's going to leave Strange New Worlds with Kirk taking over. So it does feel like
Okay.
natural progression into what would in essence be Strange New Worlds season 6, but it's going to be obviously whatever the new show ends up being called, whether ends up getting called Year One or whatever they call it. It's going to be the first series of that and be a brand new with a new character arc within there for James Kirk. I think it's a really good concept. I think it's a good concept, and I think we need to start putting these new things out there because we're not getting like we used to with Voyager, with TNG, with DS9. We're not getting seven seasons of 26
Very
episodes.
true, but we had the whole after Picard ended, the legacy kind of tease, and nothing came of that.
Right.
Mm.
And this is the first time in almost a decade or more than a decade that a Star Trek property has not been either in production, in post production, or greenlit, right? So there is nothing left to film. There is no scheduled, shooting camera days from now until forever right now with Star Trek, right? There is nothing on the books that they still have to film. So that's where we're at,
I
and this is the first time in 20 years,
I
or
do
I'm sorry, in
believe
10 years.
Academy has got the green light for season 2.
Season 2 is in the can. It is done.
Ooh.
Done.
They have wrapped.
Mm.
They wrapped. Oh, they wrapped their filming on Wednesday, or I'm sorry, on Tuesday of the week of the cruise, and on Thursday, uh,
Wow.
uh, two of the actors they were on the cruise with us, and they actually skipped their wrap party. So that is done. That is
Wow.
in the can.
Yeah, so season two's done. Season 3 is still not confirmed, but the showrunners have said that they've got so much more story to tell in this. And honestly, they really really have the distance that this can go. Academy
Yeah, they
could
have
be, it can be huge, and there's rumors that obviously nobody's seen it yet.
they have two
Go on.
more years.
What?
Why only 2? Doesn't it take it to where
No,
they came out of the other side of the warp hole, the wormhole in Discovery?
that may be,
920
but
years.
that may be, but Star Trek Fleet Academy was always a concept of following one class through the Star Trek Fleet
Mm.
Academy, and that takes 4 years.
Yeah,
And
get
each
that.
season is a year of school. So we today is the season finale of their freshman year of Academy. They have wrapped up their sophomore year in filming. We may or may not get a junior or final senior year.
Yeah, and love the concept. I just think that Academy has got so many more legs with it. And there's rumors that there's going to be there's a cliffhanger at the end of season 2 anyway. So the cliffhanger at the end of season 2, if we don't get a season 3, is going to really really upset people. So we need to see season 3, otherwise I think it's going to cause a hell of a lot of disgruntlement. Obviously, when we get to the back of that. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Has anybody got anything else newsworthy? Anything else we need to talk about that's happened since the last episode? But I just thought that with Starfleet Academy being really really prevalent at the moment, that it would be good to shout out a potential prequel to that, a sequel to that. Yeah, go.
I practiced my Doug hug, and I gave Doug Jones a hug so hard that he was like, "Oh, oh, oh, wait a minute, hold on, this is something new, right? Like he stopped the hug mid hug and was like, I see you have been practicing, so it was very intimate and very wonderful.
Did you know he's a contortionist?
He was after that
Yes,
hook.
yes, 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 he is. Yes, he is. I was hugging him, and he was scratching like the bottom of my feet,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
with
yeah,
his
yeah,
hand.
yeah.
Like that's how. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Just for anybody that with the avoidance of doubt, who did Doug Jones play? Putz?
That would be Saru
Played Saru,
from
so
Disco.
big, tall, gangly guy. Do you know he's a lot older than I thought he was? Do you know how old he is?
Age is irrelevant.
I
Wow,
know,
what is
no,
wrong
I
with you?
know,
He
but I
is.
genuinely
He
Taking
it,
the
is.
it
chat.
I
confused
do.
me. Go on, guess how old he is. Stop looking it
He
up.
looks like he's 35, and I do believe he's closer to 60 than he is 50.
He's
Like he is.
What?
65.
He's what?
65.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Blimey.
honestly,
So
I
there you go.
genuinely, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I saw
He's
a
he's
picture and I couldn't believe it. It looks
I
so well.
and he looks younger in person. I don't know what he does, but oh my gosh, like he looks way younger than me, and he's apparently more than 15 years older than me. So
I don't think we should
good
be
living,
using you as a
good for
gauge.
him.
I don't think we should be using you as a gauge there. Joking, joking. Okay.
Even
Anybody
with
that's
that
watching on
filter.
YouTube will attest to that. Drop a comment down below. Let us know how old you think Putz is. And if anybody puts over 60, I will ban you from the channel. I'm only joking. I will. Really. Okay, marvelous. Okay, really chuffed with that. I think that's I think that's good. I think it's exciting. We will keep you abreast here at Brits and Yanks Talk Trek of obviously all the developments and things what are going on around new series, new seasons starting, and obviously anything time something gets into production, we will talk about it here. Now we move on to freedom and reason, one of our favourite topics, something that we love to talk about. Let's roll the tip. We should have to do both. Marvelous. Okay, right. I want to talk about something today. The topic for freedom reads is that it's the tipping culture. Okay. Now, this is something. I went to the States. I was in the States less than 2 weeks ago. Went to Las Vegas to go watch my rugby team get absolutely battered. We don't talk about that. Anybody puts a comment about that in the comments as well, again, I will shout at you. I will ban you. We do not talk about the rugby. But barring that 2 hours, amazing experience. But what I cannot get my head around, just price things on how much they are. Don't tell me how much something is and then send me to the checkout, as you call it. We call it a till. Send me to the checkout and then it not be that. I go buy something for $3. I get to the till. Oh, that's $3.76, please. What is the 76? What? Why do you do it? Why is it set up like that? And we're
Yeah,
going to get on to
Putz.
tips in a second.
It's all
Putz,
your
why
fault.
have
Why
you?
did you do it?
Why have you personally
Yeah.
made it so nothing costs what it actually says it costs?
Well, it depends on what state you buy stuff in.
Oh, does it really? Does it change a lot?
S- Yep. Yep. There
And
are some states that have no sales tax. There are some states that have sales tax on everything. There are some states that have sales tax on everything but food. There are some states that have sales tax um, on everything but food unless you sit down in a restaurant and then you're taxed. There's a lot of different ways that we like to tax. Yes.
and a lot of these rules. I mean, at the end of the day, you have state lines make a huge difference, don't they, with your taxation laws? Do you know what I mean? Depending on what state you're in,
Oh,
depending where you are,
absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
they're
There
all
are
set at local level, aren't they?
yeah. Yeah, like for example, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania has a sales tax that is significantly higher than Ohio. And so what you get is a lot of people will do their grocery shopping in Ohio and then drive, like if they live on the border. Um, a lot of states that are commonwealths or a lot of states in the South actually tax groceries and tax food. So what you will get is people leaving those states and going like from Kentucky to Ohio or Kentucky to Indiana or Tennessee to Missouri. to do shopping, significant shopping, depending. Sometimes cars, sometimes you can save. You buy a $40,000 automobile, you might be able to save 2,000 in taxes just by purchasing it in a different state.
Wow. I mean, that to me sounds like us jumping on a boat and going over to Europe and doing a booze cruise, or
Yeah.
you know.
To get some to save.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like
yeah,
duty free on roids, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's quite. I mean, but I think it'd be good for us to
kind of.
offer a comparison as to what we do over here. I think so. The way that our tax system works, whatever something is advertised at, as a rule, that's what you pay. I can't think of I can't even think of an exception to that rule where anything would change.
Take out milk. If you have a
Take
milkshake
out
in
milk.
McDonald's, there is a tax on it because you're drinking milk in McDonald's, but there is no tax on milk. So if you take it out, your milkshake is cheaper.
Yeah, and like we also have things like we have a sugar tax, so like we would pay more money for a full fat Coca-Cola than we would for a diet Coca-Cola. Do you know what I mean? So we would pay we have those sort of tax on it as well. But predominantly our main tax that we have on goods and services is VAT, value added tax, which currently is a rate of 20%. But that's always included within the price. And whether you pay VAT depends on whether the
Okay.
company that you're buying from is VAT registered. To be VAT registered, you've got to be basically turning over £90,000 a year as a company. So anything big, do you know what I mean? Anything big, basically you pay VAT on the majority of things. Now again, there are certain
And what
exceptions.
is
VAT,
and it is
value
called
added tax.
value added tax. Why is it called value? Who gets this added value? Like
Yeah.
I'm so confused about
So
value added
based
tax.
on it's because it's percentage based. It's added tax based on the value because it's percentage based. So and like I say,
Okay.
with it being 20%. So if you buy something that should cost £1, you add 20% onto that. It's going to be £1.20. You know what I mean? So you pay tax
Mhm.
based on the value of the item. It's probably not a great word for it, to be fair. It's probably not a great way of doing it. But
So
it's just go on.
you want to hear something interesting? Even in individual states, you can have different counties that have different taxes or different cities.
Oh, come
For example,
on.
yeah, yeah, and for example, okay, there in some of our major cities in the county that they are in, they will have a 1 to 3% higher tax in that county or surrounding counties, and you know what they pay for mostly? Sporting venues, stadiums.
But that's a huge part of your culture. You know what I mean? I
So,
mean,
for example, yeah, yeah, for example, Cleveland and Cincinnati in Ohio, where their counties are, and inside the city, you have to pay an additional 2 to 3% on everything you buy inside that jurisdiction, and all of that money goes to uh, spending for the two stadiums.
yeah,
Oh, I think you should revolt. I've seen the prices for the World Cup for the tickets in America, and
It's
blimey, no.
yeah,
you know what though?
yeah.
I mean, I see that as like a good cause tax. I think getting people and getting kids playing sports and stuff like that. I don't mean the World Cup. I mean nobody should pay
No,
to go
he's
to go
talking
to.
about their stadiums, not their school grounds
Yeah,
or
yeah.
college
Do you mean
grounds. He's talking
stadium
about their
upkeep, or
They're
does any of that?
huge.
Right, okay. I'm thinking it's like a good cause thing, trying to get more people playing things and doing sport in events.
No, no. This is basically we are basically subsidizing billionaires. The billionaires who own the teams, and some teams in our major league sports own or partially own the facilities that they play in. Sometimes they are leasing it from the city who owns it or whatnot. But now, in probably more than 50% of the cases, the public good or the public is paying or subsidizing either 100% or a significant portion of those stadiums.
God, I mean, we do have something marginally similar, but it's nothing to do with the stadiums. Many of you might never have even heard of this. Have you ever heard of chancel tax?
Sorry, say that again.
Chancel tax.
No.
Chancel tax, a really, really old concept whereby if you lived within the vicinity of a church, normally these are now minsters, which are basically like larger churches or cathedrals, don't mean even bigger churches on top of that. everybody within the vicinity of there, as part of their general taxation, would pay a percentage towards the upkeep of the church called chancel tax. It's a lot rarer than it used to be. It used to be pretty much everywhere. But I'm just thinking about the sports stadium thing with tax for sales, but this is generally on households and things like that people pay to live in the area in the vicinity of a church, paying for the upkeep of it, similar to what your stadium thing is. But no, I just think it's a really good, strange concept that we buy things and it doesn't cost what it says it costs, and it angered me and it frustrated. I don't understand why they don't just include the tax in there, because
Well, that's the accountant in you, isn't it?
No,
I
no.
saw it as I've added up, I've gone around, I think I've spent $40. Oh, $62. Yay!
But the thing is, everybody knows that it's there. Everybody knows that the tax is there, apart from obviously the naive people that are coming into the States who maybe don't know about it. Everybody in the US knows full well, oh, it says it's $3, but I know it's going to cost me $3.50 by the time by the time I've actually paid for it and it's come out on my bank account. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that. So why don't I can't understand why they don't just add the tax in. I can't understand why they don't do it. Is it because does it vary a lot if you buy more than one thing? Is it value based? Is it because it would be impossible to
No.
include?
Here's why we don't do it. It is because of the 99 cents. It is ending the price in 9.99. Ooh, that's a deal. It's under $10. Oh, it's not if you add the tax in. It's all about perception. It's all about, that 99-cent thing, that $99.99
Well,
thing.
let me tell you.
Perception. It's perception.
Hold on, let's
It's
just
marketing.
go back for that. Two things. One, you've just abandoned minting the penny, so that's going to be annoying.
Yeah, don't.
And
yeah, well,
two, Marks and Spencers, which is a well-established company in the UK, looked at the 99p and thought, no, we're just going to round it up. Everything will be 0, so it'll be £21, £20, £8, £6. They made record profits the first year they did that.
I'm sure that there is arguments on both sides. I'm just giving you that's what I think is why
Yeah.
we still don't add it in. Um, and also because, again, like I said, just in the state, right? There is going to be definitely different jurisdictions that will have a different tax rate. So, it's not a one size fits all. Um, Even if you had like here's an interesting thing. A lot of our stuff that we get at our convenience stores and stuff like that, that they have a price already printed on them from the manufacturer. And normally that price is completely wrong, right? It's either on sale or it's marked over. Um, so it's, we are a country full of uh, uh,
Con-
controversy and what's the
contradictions.
contradictions? That's the word I
Mm.
was looking for, right? Like we don't make sense, right? We are 50 states that and there's 50 different rules, and inside each state there's another 50 different rules for it's it's mind numbing. The only thing that is constant throughout the United States is everything, everywhere, everybody that interacts with a customer, they want a tip now. That's what is constant across the United States.
Agreed.
Is
And that probably
if
leads
you
me,
are working and you are interacting with a customer, oof,
and that leads really
tip
nicely
tip
into
me,
the sort of
tip me.
the second part of this whole I've just been to America, come back and can't believe it, is the tipping culture. In this country, we get a bill. If I want to tip somebody, I will tip them based on, did I like them? Did they provide good service? Was the food good? If we're talking about a restaurant, I may round up the bill. Do you know what I mean? If it was $120, £123, I might say take 125, take 130. You know what I mean? I might do that. You know what I mean? I may do that here. When I was over in the States, whenever we went out, there was a group of 5 of us, so a meal was costing around $230, $240 every single time that we ate out. But on the bill, And this is another thing I want to ask you about the banking side of it, because that blew my mind as well. Every time I bought something, at the bottom it said 18, 20, 22% tip. I don't know where they get 18 from and 20 and 22%. I think they give you a high one and a low one and want you to go for the middle option because they don't want you to feel tight and they don't want you to feel like you've been over there. I think that's why they
Power creep. That's where it came
I
from.
think that's why they give you 3 options. But the fact that they sort of expect it and they're saying, what level of tip do you want? I always said none. If anybody didn't ask me, I tipped them because that could be the Brit in me, but I will tip you if I want to tip you. If you ask me, I'll say no.
Yeah.
If you ask me, I'll say no. If you don't ask me
Yeah.
and you've been all right, I will tip
Yeah.
you. And that could just be the tight Yorkshireman in me. It could be the fact that I'm British, that I don't want to do it. But and the second thing, the way that the accounting works on the bank account, I found that really strange because what they did, because I paid on my card a lot, they took out, let's say it was $240. They took out the $240 off my account, and the tip came out later as a separate transaction. And because they'd already charged it, and they asked you to write down what the tip was on the piece of paper on the receipt and sign for the tip. So I paid for the card the $240, and I said I want to do a $10 tip. I wrote the number down, signed it, give the check back to them, and then that $10 come out as a separate transaction on my bank account. And it just feels archaic and backward. I don't know why they do. I don't know if it's because it goes into a different account. I don't know if it's because it's taxed differently over there, or maybe something like that. I'm not 100%, but it just felt strange.
I do believe that's because you probably were using a non-U.S. bank.
Oh yeah,
A U.S. bank will, in that case, they will just put a hold on your credit card of the bill of the meal, right? When you give them the credit card to run at a restaurant, they will go and run it and they will come back and let you sign it. So what they did in the computer is they've put a hold on your bill for the amount, right? And then they go back and say, sign this. Do you want to add anything extra? Then when they go back to the computer, they enter in that tip number and then it adds to that and gets run as one. We only ever see one transaction on our bills.
strange.
But my guess is because you are using, let's say, Bank of England, is that they ran it for 240, had you sign it, and then ran it again for $10 or whatever the tip was and whatnot. That's probably why you're seeing two.
Right.
As far as why we tip and why, man, I have worked in the tipping economy. I have worked as uh, a caddy. I have worked as a shoe shine guy. I have worked as a pizza delivery driver. Um, I have worked as a few other a valet driver. Um, I have worked in a few places where tipping was the norm. Um, However, all of those jobs came with a normal hourly wage. I have never worked in what they call a tipping job, which is predominantly restaurants. Um, and the tipping wage in the United States is minimally $2.13 an hour, or 2.25 an hour, something like that. Whereas the minimum wage is for regular is like 7.17, 7 something, and most states are actually more than that now. So if you are a server or working in a restaurant, um, more than likely you are only getting paid $2 and some odd cents an hour, and the rest of your salary is expected to be made up in tips. I
Sounds like a gamble to me.
Man, I don't know. Yeah. Here's the thing. I, I the culture of tipping has gotten way out of control. I don't know where it started in the United States. I, I, if you said answer that question, I would say it started out of some sort of status, right? Like I'm going to be throwing around. Let me tip the bellboy. Let me tip the maitre d. Let me tip the guy who opened up the door. Let me tip the guy who's keeping the ice cold. Um, Kind of as a status of like, look at me, right? Like I can afford this, and I'm going to go around and
But
throw around a lot of money.
now it's just standard.
Yeah.
Do you tip?
Now it's
Do
standard.
you
Yeah, you're right.
do
Like
you
it's
tip?
it's ridiculous. Well, I tip in certain situations. In restaurants, and by the way, if you ask like where did that 18, 20, 22%, and jokingly said it came from power creep. Because when I was 18, when I was just becoming an adult, right? Like 10% was like that's the standard. 10% was like good service, like maybe 12, 15% is if you really loved it. And if you thought it was substandard, you would tip 0 or something up to like 10%. Now, I'm seeing restaurants that when they give you the bill, the high, medium, low, the high is like 30% and the low is like 20%. Um, what do I tip normally? I, I I'm probably going to get dinged in the comments, but I normally tip anywhere between 10 and 15%.
Okay.
Now my wife, she will tip whatever the middle is.
Okay. Okay, I think it's interesting. Like I say, it's one of the biggest differences I think from a money aspect between the two. Minnie, got anything to chime in on that?
I'm like you, and it's nothing to do with being northern. It's definitely just a British thing. If I get a haircut and I've had a really, comes out, looks good, I'll round it up. Nice meal, round it up. Buy a drink, get one for yourself. You know, it's it's uh, an act of appreciation, and when it's forced upon you, it's like,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
No,
I can
exactly.
tell you that at clubs and at busier locations, right? Tipping is a way to get better service. Like if you are at a bar and you're like three people deep and you're trying to get the bartender's attention,
Get that,
pulling
done
out a
that.
20
Yeah,
and
no, no.
waving it and say, here's the
Yeah, I
drink I
think that's
want,
universal.
you know.
I know,
Yeah.
and I get that. I mean, that happened when I was in Las Vegas. Obviously, you got cheaper drinks if you were playing the slots. So you put $20 in the slots, you play $20 a spin. The servers come round and give you drinks. You tip them a tenner, $10. You know what I mean? Which is the cost of one beer in Las Vegas. Do you know what I mean? With $10, it was more than that in quite a
Hmm.
lot of cases. You tip them $10, they come and they ply you with drinks every 10 minutes, and you sat there playing 20 cents a spin. Do you know what I mean? There's a little tip for anybody planning to go to Las Vegas. It's a real good way to save them. But yeah, totally
And the
different
tip is
cultures.
take lube with you.
Or take
Because
me
he
with you.
tips.
Please take me with you. Please
Yeah.
take me with you. No, that would be good. No, marvelous, brilliant. Let's move on to Star Trek. Let's go back to Star Trek. So as part of last episode, if you haven't already listened to episode 20, I would strongly suggest that you go and listen to that first, purely because obviously we talked a really good deep dive on episode 1 and what we loved about it and some of the character development that happened in that. So pause this here, and then obviously come back and we're going to do about episodes 2 and 3 if you haven't already listened to episode 1. I would recommend you probably go and do that first to get our take of it. But episode 2, let's start off with this. So the episode itself, obviously straight after the original opening one, episode 2 is the beta test. It aired on the 15th of January 2026. Puts, give us a brief synopsis on episode 2. Tell us roughly what happened, and then we'll start breaking down the storyline into a little bit more. But give us a high-level overview.
All right. So our main character of Caleb, um, he is disgruntled and he is antsy. He's wanting to try to find his mother. Has some interactions with some of the leadership, the administration of the school, and at some point he's decides I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna go run away. He meets uh, his eventual, what we think is probably going to be his love interest on the show. She's a Beta Z. We are introduced that the Beta Zs, the Betazoids, um, have retreated from the Federation, and that the young generation, and again, we have to realize that they left 100 and some years ago, and so this is like a couple of generations after the burn, and these young Beta Zeds are growing up in isolation, and they are demanding that they open talks with the Federation, and the Federation invites the Betazoid contingency to Earth to have some negotiations, and we find out that uh, the love interest of Caleb is actually the daughter of the Betazoid contingent, the lead negotiator of the Betazoid contingency. Uh, they have a tete-a-tete. They we get some inklings of her Betazoid powers, of what she can do a little bit, or we're getting hinted of. And then at the very end, it is confirmed that the negotiations have went well, and that the new Federation headquarters will no longer be based in Paris or on Earth. That we are moving the Federation headquarters to Beta Z.
Great, brilliant. I mean, we actually get to the point where the Caleb actually meets his new, what we think is going to be his love interest, where he's actually trying to scale the wall to escape. Do you know what I mean? He's sat on top of the fence at that point, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's trying to escape
Correct.
from where he wants to be. And obviously she's the one that sort of talks him down, brings him round, and obviously brings him back into the fold, as it were. I think if she weren't there, he would have gone, and that would have been the end of it. So there was that. But I think going back to the whole Betazoid thing, I found it quite, because I don't think this was ever mentioned in any other Trek anywhere else. Like when we talked about the Bairn, when we was in Discovery and things. Was Betazoid leaving the Federation ever mentioned? Was that ever part of the storyline? Because I'll be honest, it sort of it threw a bit of a wobbler to me when they started talking about the Federation not being in there. Do you recall that, Minnie? Do you recall that ever being
I've
mentioned?
just rewatched all of Discovery, and there is no specific mention as to all the I mean, I think there was 140 odd planets and communities that left after the burn and just walled up their own survival.
Because Bits had put up they put up in essence the wall, didn't they? And they call it that. Obviously, they say that they're keeping everybody their side of the wall and they're stopping there. Nobody left, nobody came. They was literally completely isolationists, wasn't they? Do you know what I mean? They was totally making themselves their own individual entity, and they was doing no more exploration, which, I mean, that's just not the culture, is it? That's not the culture that they'd been used to for years and years and years, and I think it was a massive change.
And I can see how you can wall off a planet or maybe one star system in space, but the physicist in me says space is three-dimensional. You can't put up a wall.
I think it's
You can get
four-dimensional.
around it, right? So I don't know what they are definitely using something that is beyond our known, understanding of the universe.
I'm sure it was just a Dyson sphere. Come
Yeah.
on, Puts. We know what's going on here.
Oh, I love the Dyson
Don't worry, this
sphere.
will rear its ugly head in episode 9.
Don't talk about it. No, absolutely. So I mean, so obviously the fact that
Just
Beta
saying.
Z was nothing to do with the Federation anymore, and obviously trying to bring them back into the fold. I just think it was a shock to me. Obviously, I wasn't expecting that to be the main crux of the storyline. And he didn't even speak, did he? Do you know what I mean? He'd gone back into total telekinetic.
Isolation.
Yeah, obviously they didn't even he didn't even communicate verbally, did he?
We don't know
for
at
a
this
long
point.
time.
Yeah, at this point, we don't know whether or not it was an injury. We don't know whether or not he was born this way. We don't know whether or not it's evolutionary, as in Betazoid, don't need to talk because they can commute, telepathically. But at the very end of this episode, he did turn his communicator off and did say with his voice,
Yeah.
he did agree to the compromise.
And what do we think about that? I mean, from a negotiation standpoint, do we think that I mean, Betazoid, when you think about like raw power and you think about what they contribute to the Federation and things like that, I found it a little bit of a quite a major step to say that we'll move the headquarters of Starfleet to Beta Z to get you back on board. Do you think that was a bit dramatic? Do you think that was a bit of a overzealous move to try and use that, Minnie? What do you think?
I think that's quite a clever way, because obviously there was some suggestion that there was an argument within the sort of founding or the refounding Federation as to where they were going to re-put the headquarters. So this was almost, I mean, we've got the Betazoids that turned up as elders and went, nope, we don't want to come back. We're fine. And you got the kids going, we need to see the world. We need to see the planets. We need to see the systems. We need to meet other people. And then you had obviously on the Federation side, you had the Admiral who was like, oh, we've tried. They'd almost, the adults had given up.
Yeah.
And that was what was great about this episode, is the adults were turning up to go through the motions, and it was the interaction of the kids. One who doesn't even want to be in the Federation, and the son and daughter who are desperate to just see who the Federation are, make a blasé comment, a passing comment of why does it even need to be in Paris? Why does it need to be there? And the suggestion of passing thought of the naivety of youth, I suppose, to be able to turn around and go, well, why don't we just put it on Betazoid? I mean, it's a symbol at the end of the day.
It is.
It's where we come together. It's what difference is it? Is it here? Is it there? And it's like, okay, so
It is, and
for
that
us
plays
as adults, yes, as a status symbol, as where are we going to put this, yes, but for kids, no,
I think
Go on.
I think that this is a really good lesson in uh, empathy and awareness of others that Star Trek does a little bit, but when we come right down to it, we are arrogant. Us Earthlings are arrogant to be like, yeah,
but not as
we're
arrogant
gonna
as the
come.
Vulcans.
Well, no. We're gonna come into this thing, and we're gonna be hundreds of years behind the first people that we ever met. Remember First Contact, the Vulcans? Like we were, smelly mouth breathers, right? And just a couple hundred years later, we're gonna be like, no. We're the most central thing in this organization, and we're going to create this thing, and it's going to be centered around Earth. Um, I'm sorry, but in all the Star Trek I've ever seen, it seems like the Terrans or the Earthlings are almost always some of the least developed and least, cultured and least evolved species of other humanoids out there. We got to be completely arrogant to be like, yes, we need to be the seat of power and
But
governance.
does arrogance come with age?
I don't know. I've always looked at it and go, okay, well, finally, we're actually doing something. Star Trek is doing something that is not so Earth-centric, right? Like we're joining something that is actually housed somewhere else, right? Like we're becoming part of this again, and not being, well, we're the leader and it's you know, why is the United Nations in New York City and not in somewhere else in in the world,
It
right? Like
might not be for long.
it's a very I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
but I appreciate that, and that sort of relates back to where we're at now. And I think that the way that this is framed, I think Minnie hit the nail on the head. Really, we're talking about the fact that it was the kids that obviously had the major influence on this, and the fact that this whole show of Starfleet
Yes.
Academy is based on the development of youth, the reintegration of Starfleet Academy, of starting to put the next group of explorers. These are the people who've got skin in the game. All these old crusty admirals, do you know what I mean? They're not going to be here in 20, 30 years when Starfleet's been rebuilt and we've got these people that are in the academy now that are captains of starships that are back exploring the galaxy again. They ain't got skin in the game. The people with skin in the game are these cadets that are now going through the academy. So I think that sort of transition of power and responsibility and general thought process going back to the kids, going back to the new entrants to the academy, and obviously the daughter of the president of Beta Z. She's the future of Beta Z. It's not going to be the president. It is her daughter that's going to obviously be the future of that. And trying to see that transition and how that works with the new world post Burn. Because bearing in mind, the Burn was what, 150 years? That was the Burn time.
Something like that. Yeah.
Ballpark 150 years. So a lot of these
More
people.
than 100.
So a
More
lot of
than
these
100.
people were born during the burn. They will die just after the burn finished.
Hmm.
They've never known any different. The world has changed. The galaxy has changed in the re-evolvement of the burn, of now not being there, to the point that we need to have a new way of thinking about things. So I think we've gone quite philosophical there, but I think the philosophical part of it, I think it's
But I think
quite
that's
well
what
said.
Academy is. I think we watch it as adults, and see the adults, and then we see the kids, and we go, "Oh God, Jesus Christ! You've just got no idea what's going on, kids." But that's the point, isn't it? This is a two-tiered program. We see, you know, those that we loved from maybe Discovery, you know, those from Voyager with the Doctor. You know, we see the favourites, the Easter eggs. We see Star Trek as we want it, and then you've got this, the youth aspect, the tweeny, no, whatever, the sort of 19 to 25 ethos of how we're introducing them to Star Trek. And as adults, we can be a bit old and crusty and go, "Oh Jesus Christ! Another touchy feely kissy. You know, we're over that. But
Yeah.
when you're in the prime of life and you're like, anything is possible. And I think that's what this show does. It reflects
Yeah,
the
I agree. Different
the
stages.
steadfast
Yep.
and
Totally agree. Now, I'll be honest, it wasn't one of my favourite episodes. I think there's a lot of deep thinking in the episode, but I thought the episode itself was, it wasn't. It was nothing compared to the first episode for me. That was action packed. That was Star Trek. That was space battles. That was shooting. That was fighting. Do you know what I mean? New. I liked it. This was a lot more story setting. Do you know what I mean? It was setting the story. It was laying the foundations for the next stage. It was fine. Coming to episode 3. Okay, let's move to episode 3 now. Now, I absolutely loved episode 3 as a quick caveat just to start off with. Has anybody got anything before we jump into episode 3? Anything else on episode 2, Puts Mini? No, awesome. Episode 3, Vitus Reflux, 22nd of January 2026. Mini, your turn. Give us a background. Give us a synopsis.
well, I
of
can't give you
episode
one
3.
as good as Putz did, but what I can say is this is where we as viewers are really introduced to the War College and the fact that now you've got the academy aspect of explorers and scientists and, you know, engineers going through this new setup, this new system, and being housed in the War College, which, you know, the Federation has been all about defend and attack, not exploration, not science, none of that. It's for this period of the burn, it's been about in almost like the Betazoids. It's been very insular. It's been very defend yourself. So the War College is established, and we get to meet them. And they look at the new academy as these namby-pamby, space-loving, you know, cadets that have got no place here, and they start to do pranks on each other. And this episode is about two sets of competing groups of people, because they're young adults, groups of people
Like
coming
factions,
together
yeah.
and listening to or learning to hear from the experience of the elders, because it's not just the kids who are at war here with their practical jokes.
Yeah.
We also have Holly Hunter. Apologies, I said I'd remember all the names. I cannot. Holly Hunter going up against the head of, you know, her counterpart within the War College. And he's, again, very buttoned up, very attack, defend. And she's like, "Oh, let me throw my feet up on your sofa." And you can see how he's uncomfortable with this blazing sort of disrespect to the chain of command and to all these different things. And so we get to see it on the two planes here, and it's very clever how at the end when you watch it, you're like, "Oh, she was saying that right from the beginning. They just weren't listening because the kids." Funny. I like this one.
Really good episode. Puts, anything to add on the general synopsis? I know you I know you like this episode. You're on mute, dude. Puts. But yeah, so when you start thinking about this, I mean, the whole point of there being a war college, I mean, that's different. I mean, you've got to think back. You've got to go all the way back to Enterprise. You've got to go all the way back to Enterprise before you had anything sort of Starfleety that was war focused. Do you know what I mean? Because everything was exploration. It was nice. It was lovely. All the way through TNG Voyager. Yes, there was wars. Yes, there was conflict. Yes, there was battles. There was all that. But the core mission, the prime directive was exploration. Do you know what I mean? That's what they were there to do. They were there to explore the galaxy. The fact that we've got the War College in there is a totally different. Puts, have we got you back?
No, we do not.
No, we haven't got you back.
Oh.
I'm going to douche, douche, douche.
So now it's just Brits. Excellent.
but I mean, in essence, having that warring side of it and having the two totally different factions as they were, and showing the two
We have him
different
back.
sides. He's back.
Check, check.
Check, mic check, 1, 2.
Okay, so here's what I want to say. Okay, so every good school, every complete school needs a rival.
Mhm.
Okay, like if I said Exeter, right? You're gonna give me their rival, right? If I said, Cambridge, you're gonna give me like
Oxford.
who their rival is, right? Um, exactly, right? Um,
I'm glad you didn't ask me
here
to
in the
name
States,
Exeter's
if I
because I
said
didn't know that
Ohio
one.
State, right, right. If I said Ohio State, people are going to tell me, University of Michigan, or, you know, in the Premier League with sports teams, like who is, you know, Manchester City's rival, right? It's
United.
Man U, right? It's
Mhm.
United, right?
Yep.
Like the story
Ask me
is
more.
not
Ask me more. This is where I
No, no, no.
shine. Come on. Ask me more.
I'll get my
No.
coat.
It is not complete. It is not complete until until you have not a villain, but you have a rival. And this episode solidifies the rivalry between the War College and the Academy. Um, the pranks were epic. I think that if you rewatch this episode, you will get glimpses of what the pranks will be, at least from the Federation, from the Academy side, well before they actually happen. Because Ake, uh, Chancellor Ake, is a puppet master in this. She is back here just doing this and letting all of her cadets think that they are original and think that they are choosing the path and making decisions where it's been Ake all along in the background going, yes, this is how it's going to end up. Um, I
I
think
think.
it's
I think.
absolute.
I think.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think what
genius
puts
episode.
us. Yeah. What puts and what I missed here, which puts we can fill in, is her number 2 being so unsure of the way Chancellor Ake was
Hmm.
organising, looking over the situation, standing back from the situation.
And I don't think that she was plugged in. You've got also come back to Ake was put in charge of Starfleet Academy essentially 24 or 48 hours before they left to go and like fly to the Earth and to start their school year. I would assume that number 1 was placed there a
A while
while
back.
before
Yeah.
that. So this is like sh- you know, yeah, and we cannot go any further until we talk about probably the best line in this series so far, which is if they shenan once, they shall shenan again.
Shenanigan.
And that's it. That's it. Mic drop. Just
Yeah,
mic drop.
very good. Yeah. No, great line. I mean, I don't know. I mean, number one's come out with some corkers though, hasn't she? Do you know what I mean? She's still my favorite character. All these episodes in. I love. I mean, Minnie mentioned this before. I love the character development. Obviously, we're talking about the fact that we've now started to get a bit of a love interest there with obviously with Caleb. But we've also got the fact that Salika, who's now obviously joining the academy, she isn't. She's joining the War College. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that we've got a love interest potentially, and then we've got the fact that they're in 2 separate factions. Do you know what I mean? I think that's really, really cool.
Yep.
It's a really good development. It's a nice development, so that you've got
And
that
this brings
rivalry.
in the whole like Romeo and Juliet type
Yep.
of thing. Yep.
Capulets
You
and the
know,
Montagues. Yeah, I mean, it is honestly, it is. It's so
Yep.
it's so tied together to the point where they're together, but they're enemies in certain ways, but then they're not in other ways. Do you know what I mean? I just think the whole antagonist, protagonist, everything just works within that whole relationship to the point where I think it's going to be really, really good to see, obviously, how that develops, obviously, over the future episodes. But do you want to talk us through any of the pranks, Minnie? Any of the pranks that you particularly liked?
So, I So it starts off with them all. They've all finished a game. Gym. They've all been in gym, and they're all teleported out of the locker room to various parts around the. I think it's the atrium, isn't it? They call it the atrium. By the War College, and they're completely unaware. They're completely unaware about what the hell is going on here, and it needs to be explained that well, it's what we do, you know. And if you look back at our history as viewers of Star Trek, there were always times when we got a little insight to a captain's time at the academy and some of the pranks that they played. So this isn't a new thing that they've just brought in for
Nope.
academy. You know, Wesley, I think, got in trouble with Paris and two others for
Lacano.
again playing pranks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Picard's talked about his best mate, Will's dad, Beverly's husband, and the pranks that they used to play. So to now see some of the Easter eggs from when they talked about it to be done there
At
and
the
then,
academy,
I
yeah.
think it's
Yeah, because I mean, the Academy is something that's been talked about throughout the entirety of Star Trek, but we've never seen any of it. We've seen the odd flashback, haven't we? The one where obviously Picard dies. Do you know what I mean? We've seen obviously the flashback there with the conflict where he gets his new his bionic heart. We saw that flashback to the Academy, but the actual information that we've got, other than just the odd story and the odd nitbit here and there,
Yeah.
we've seen nothing. So to actually be able to see these full things play out as part of the storyline, I think it's one of the most endearing parts of Starfleet Academy that we actually get to see these grassroots things actually happen. I totally agree. But no, great episode. Puts, have you got any other pranks or anything that you want to talk about that you liked about episode 3?
Well, I think the mic drop at the end, the we're gonna use the photonic Sam, and she's gonna blip, basically, uh, instantaneously teleport to different rooms, right? And infest the entire War College with these spores that eventually turn into plants. And
That are
the
massive. Yeah.
plants are an endangered species. They are protected. And the oversight committee for both the academy and the War College, this was just mentioned very briefly at the very beginning of the episode, like, hey, next week our overseers are coming in to check up on us, and they show up at the exact same time as the plants are just going crazy, and now the War College is unable to use their facilities for an indeterminate amount of time.
Yep, spoiler. There is nothing. This fungus is gonna be with us.
It's like
We
I'm
got fungus among us.
fungus among us. Oh
Fungus.
God. Oh jeez. I believe that the fungus is going to become like the new Tribble. I think you're going to be. I think you're going to become.
Right?
I think we're going to have the Tribble mother in you. I think we're going to have the fungal father in you, Puts. You know what I mean? I think this could happen. I think this could happen. But no, I think it's going to be really good. So episode 2, episode 3 in the bag. Episode 2, okay, it was okay. It was scene setting. Episode 3. Loved everything about it. Absolutely, hands down, one of the best episodes that we've talked about so far. When we talked about 3, which is great. But we're going to do episode 4 and 5 next time on Brits and Yanks Talk Trek. So make sure that you are followed. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss anything about it. Episode 4, we're going to be introduced to the Klingons. Episode 5. We're going to be talking about some more things and some more intricate things to do with Sam as well. Sam's a really key part of episode 5, and we really, really love Sam. Sam's the photonic. So there's some really good stuff coming in episode 4 and 5, so don't forget to follow and subscribe to the channel if you're here on YouTube, or if you're listening on your podcast platform, please press the follow button. It really, really helps us out. But remember that we are available on all major podcast platforms. If you are on Apple, please leave us a 6 out of 5 star review over there. That would be absolutely amazing. We will start reading the reviews out in future shows when we get a few banked up. Join our Discord where you can chat and suggest things to us, anything that you would like us to talk about here, and all feedback is welcome. Questions, please, let us know down in the Discord so that we can help you out with that, or leave them as comments and things on the podcast as well. But I'll say a huge thank you, Puts, thank you, Minnie. Anything else that you would like to add finally before we dip out of the episode and we send episode 21 down the Lewb end of time?
Live long and prosper.
Thank you, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please go check out itslewb.com where you can get all of your Brits and Yanks Talk Trek merch. That will be absolutely brilliant. Thank you to all the members that are already members over there. It's amazing. Hello, Putsy's pussy. That's fantastic to see. Love him. He's very, very cute. Oh, look at him. He's so cute. So brilliant. You need to be over on YouTube for you to be able to see that. Thank you, everybody. Been a pleasure. Thank you. Remember that absolutely everything is better with Lewb. And take care, guys. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.